In the last video, I brought my crude oil home using a tanker train and proceeded to lay out the foundations for a huge refinery to turn the oil into fuels and chemicals. This is exactly what I need to do today. To start, I'm going to design a working refinery using Crate Mod based off of the existing plans that I have from last time. Once I have a design, I'll need to collect the materials and assemble them into a plant in survival. And by the end of the video, I'll be refining fuels to power my first vehicle, which you, the viewer, will have a hand in deciding on. How do I even start? Start the video, start talking, or start building this thing. I mean, you guys have seen the pictures. I've shown you the pictures. You're going to see them again. It's pretty horrific. That doesn't look very Minecraft friendly. There's not very many cubes. See, even the weather agrees. It's funny, I forgot for the second time that the things are unloaded from the bottom and they're loaded from the top. Obviously it's Crate Mod, there's no rule against that, but look, I'm trying to make it realistic. I almost started to lift the truck up, you might have seen it in the time lapse there. And I just looked at it and I was like, no. No, it's no good, we're not going to do that. I will just deal with it on the ground. Then we'll build like some decorative pipes that look like they're coming up and out, and then they go up, and then they go up to this pipe, and it's going to be a whole thing. You may or may not have noticed that I'm trying to color code the tanks. Not that those are a good example, they're all the same color. That's a different color, and that's green over there, and those are also different colors. And I am attempting to do that because theoretically they're going to hold different fluids or gases in some cases. So over here I've made a color key for all of the different things that I will be dealing with at the oil refinery. There's actually a lot, more than you might think. It's kind of cool. So obviously we got green, we got crude oil. That's what that stuff is over there. You can see that's green. Gas is going to be yellow. Then we've got diesel, which ends up being red. Here we go. We have kerosene, naphtha, lubricant, heavy oil, and then we've got some gases. We've got propylene, ethylene, which will just, they're gases that you'll get. I think we get both of those from naphtha. And then we've got air, which there's just a block. There's an air intake block, and it's just a fan, and it just creates air, which is kind of cool. The air you actually turn into neon, which is fun because you can make neon lights, and it looks really good with shaders. Like I'm talking really good. And then we got plastic, liquid plastic. I don't know, maybe I'll find a better block for that. It's kind of The liquid plastic you get from the propylene and the ethylene. And then of course we've got napalm. Can't forget about that, can we? Which just comes from gas and aluminum. That would mean then that is a gas tank and then a diesel tank over there, because those are meant to kind of help be fuel supplies for the power plant that are going to go over there at some point. And so now I just have to figure out the coatings for the rest of these. I've got about 8 remaining. Done everything easy, which may seem a little bit silly, and I've done a little bit of the hard stuff as well, like build this area here, which I'll explain a little bit. And I have a design for a distillation tower. And it's funny, like I mentioned, that's the mod's distillation tower. That's the functional part. We obviously have that. It's inside here. I'll show you how, but this is my design. I've also built the 6 pipelines coming out of the 6 storage tanks here. Of course, there's only 5 cars, but we don't talk about that. I'll build another train car if I really need to. It's kind of annoying. I wish I could put them next to each other without having to either spam brackets or put windows in them, but this is what I got. And most of the time, they're not going to be directly next to each other. We've got a very splendid parking lot. It needs a little bit more work, but I'm pretty happy with it. We've even got some flowers. It's not an entirely barren industrial park, but all the tanks are color coded. They correspond to the colors that I showed you earlier. We'll get more into that later once we start connecting pipes. But this distillation tower here, I'll show you what I got. So it has the fully functional thing. It is a little hard to see, but if we look down here, we've got the blaze burners, and there are pipes everywhere. But this is the mod's distillation tower. Here you can see from the top. This one has 6 outputs. Sometimes I only want 5. and so that just makes it even easier. I have one less pipe. And then there are 6 different pipes that come down here. That was not easy to do, but it actually looks kind of dope from the side. And then I'm going straight into flare stacks. But I have to admit, it's fun to watch. Like, I like the particles. And so now I want to position these elsewhere. And I don't know if I want that right there. I probably don't. That's just where I randomly built it. But I'm not going to cut it out yet, just in case. We want 2 of them over here for sure. What if I positioned it? Let's like start by rotating. And there'll be room for other stuff. Maybe it's just fine where it is. I don't feel the need to remove it right now. Especially because I may be rearranging this stuff anyways once I add the other buildings and pipes and all that. Maybe it will make more sense to do it differently. Over here, let's add 3 more though. I probably am going to... Maybe 4 more. Let's start with 3. And maybe we want this one to be elevated like it's stuck on top of something. So we'll have 1 there, and maybe we'll have 2 like right next to each other, or directly, not like literally right next to each other, but very close. Yep, so there, we'll do 6 of them that correspond with the 6 tanks, which is frustrating because I have 5 cars, but 6 pump jacks, so wish I had planned that out a little bit, but whatever, it's a little bit triggering. Starting to get there. I now obviously have these flare stacks, which are quite significant. Also, you might have seen I started working on these pipes, and I successfully achieved a design that when you first look at it, you can't really tell what you're looking at, other than that it's a crazy number of pipes, which is what I was going for. So mission accomplished. May not look like a lot has changed, but what I just did took hours. And that's because I've added all the functional parts. It actually works now. It is a working oil refinery. I mean, mostly. It doesn't have like the plastic automation. It doesn't turn naphtha into the things that turn into plastic. Yeah, that's the only thing that's not there. But it has 6 working distillation towers. All of them are structured about the same. These ones are, and all of them actually burn something directly at their base just because I thought it looked cool. It looks a little bit like it's on fire, like it's about to blow up. It's not, but it kind of looks like that. This flare stack right here specifically burns extra diesel and gasoline. And it also sends it from these pipes here. You can see I've color coded, that's gas, that's diesel. It gets sent to these things. So right now I'm not putting any tanks or anything into here. Then this stuff gets split up. 4 of the oil lines go that way, then 1 there, and then obviously 1 over there. Same deal here, it gets sent over to this spot. Underneath all of these, by the way, is quite the nightmare of pipes. You'll notice some of them are worse than others. It got pretty nasty at times. Would not recommend. But then over here we have a big main pipeline bus, I guess. We got the 4 oil lines and then the other 3 products. They go over here, get connected to another distillation tower. Of course, by that point, we've actually run out of 2 of the oil lines because one of them went here. The other one went right there to that tower. The heavy oil goes over here, and this thing is actually fully working now, and it's the only part that's kind of got the decorative stuff in addition to the functional stuff. This is the napalm maker. It takes gasoline here from that pipeline there, and it combines it with aluminum, and it turns it into napalm. And when, you know, this thing is actually almost completely full of napalm, which I think is very cool. That's what this does, though. We have a very nice vent right here. It literally just has some smokers under it. I discovered you can dye the smokestacks, and then it makes different colored smoke, which is awesome. We're going to have quite a few more of these, within reason, because particles are bad. The heavy oil does go over here. I've connected up all the outputs to every storage tank as well, which is great. This tower is actually making naphtha, and it's sending it right over there. Right now, all the naphtha is getting burned in that flare stack. Over here, excess kerosene and excess LPG gets burned at the top of that. And over there, we have another one that burns excess gas and diesel. Oh yeah, and that's burning excess heavy oil. All that's left is, like I mentioned, a little bit of stuff with the heavy oil, and then all the stuff with the naphtha. And then a whole lot of decorative stuff. I'm gonna start building that decorative stuff now. You can see I already laid it out. That's kind of important. I need to get that done. And I have to admit, I'm getting a little concerned by how many steel pipes are in here. I wish I could say it was fully done, but probably unsurprisingly to many, it is not, in fact... Oh. Wow, I'm disembodied now. It is not, in fact, fully done. It is as done as it's going to get in this video. Meaning, it works as an oil refinery. It refines oil in 6 different distillation towers. It also stores all of the products of it. It has a power plant for it that will run it as long, or at least for a while. It eventually will become a backup because I'll eventually have like high voltage lines. I mean, I've already got the electric lines in here. They're just not doing a lot. Eventually we'll run it with electricity, which will be pretty cool. But for now, we have these engines. I actually copied 2 of the engines from my oil refinery, or not the refinery, the oil field, and moved them over here. But basically, I realized there was no way I was getting this video done. It's a shame. I wish I'd gotten it all done, but the remaining parts, the remaining subsystems are just going to be added as I have time and as it makes sense in the following videos. There's not going to be like a 3rd video where I do only this. I've also got it sorted out here with the tanker train. So the tanker train can come down here, it kind of gets unloaded, and it gets sent to the different storage silos. However, there is one problem. The problem is not with this all works fine. The problem is with the train itself. Remember how a little while ago, a couple videos ago, I brought a tanker of liquid concrete over to the oil field, and I was like, I'm gonna unload it. 700 buckets, that would be 700 blocks. That was my plan. And when I unloaded it, it produced a very small number, like maybe 200 blocks, maybe less than that. And I thought it was a glitch with concrete for some reason. I was like, oh, the concrete system is broken. Well, I was wrong. It's not broken. I mean, not any more than like the texture. The texture is a little bit whatever, but the concrete is mostly fine. It's actually a problem with Crate Mod itself, because when I unloaded the tanker cars here, 720 buckets in each one, what did I get out of it? Well, I got like maybe 130 crude oil buckets. I got about 1/7 of what was actually in those tanker cars. And so I was like, this is bad. Obviously it wasn't just the concrete. So I went and I looked it up. And sure enough, other people had the same problem. They're like, so when I unload my train, it just voids a bunch of the fluid. And is this problem fixed yet? And it's like from 2023. And I'm like, uh-oh. So it turns out that that is just a problem with Crate Mod itself. Hopefully it will get fixed soon, because it basically makes tanker trains redundant. Which means the backup plan is the kind of cheesy item, well, not item, but the cheesy fluid teleportation system, the equivalent of the item transmitter. It's, yeah. There's a disturbing number of cows here. The cow farmer has been going to town with the cow breeding. Normally there's like 3 of them, and I keep having to move them back, like airdrop them back with the leads because they wander away. Now there's a horde of cows. I don't know why there's so many cows. I guess they've been getting tons of wheat. I don't know where they got it from. But they're not killing them enough. So I'm going to help out a little bit. Besides, if we want to get more than 50 colonists, we're going to have to turn in a ton of steak again for the upgrade. It's kind of random, but funny. No frames. The frames went away. Let's go frames to frames. We have no frames. Let's put this away. I want to see what this is. I ended up splitting it into 2. Anyways, so let's go over here, right where we were building before, and we will put this. And oh boy, material checklist. What do we got? 18 pages. Oh no. Oh boy, here we go. Oh no. 1,600 steel pipes. Uh-oh, I just crashed my game with the second schematic. Oops. Oops, I haven't even seen how many metal pipes it needs. Steel pipes. Uh-oh. Nice, I rejoined the world. And it lagged so much because I'm holding the schematic that by the time I get actually to do anything, I blew up. Let's see what's the verdict on this. 27 instead of 18. Right, so that's not quite double what I needed before. So now we're gonna have to do something. Something not very ideal. I didn't want to cheat and spawn it in. I'm not gonna do that. And I don't have a giant bucket wheel excavator yet that I can just go destroy a mountain with. Maybe one day. So the next best option is add a new recipe. That's more like it, that's what I like to see. Here's my new recipe for creating blasting mixture that allows me to use my iron farm. Now it takes double the amount of iron that it did before normally to make one piece of blasting mixture, and it takes lava and a higher percentage of lime sand, so it's significantly more difficult, and this is basically the best thing I can do for now. Well, I'm trying to automate it here where I already had lava to make coal, but I realized some issues with the nuggets. Maybe I'll have to switch it to 2 ingots instead. We'll see. I'm gonna let it run for a while, and I'm going to also collect other stuff while I'm doing that, and hopefully it'll have a lot of blasting mixture when I come back. I wish my iron farm wasn't a lag machine. I think it has something to do with the particles. Anyway, speaking of iron, I've been making steel, and I think a little while ago there's like 800, 900. There's like 800, 900 blasting mixture. I've since taken some of it out and started turning it into steel, but it's still working. Or is it not? Oh, no, it ran out of iron. Never mind, I need to put more iron in that. So I've almost gotten everything that goes along with the first section, the first half of it. And I'm also busy trying to craft this, but I'm crafting all of it that I have to do at once. So I'm busy trying to craft 36 distillation outputs. It's really slow here because you have to do it with mechanical crafters. So I'm gonna be here for a little while. Then I have to go and get some stuff from far away as well. That means the last things I need are those steel pipes, of course, which is just running in the background. I started chunk loading it. But they also need things like white sand and white sandstone. And it turns out those only come from a couple very specific biomes. I think 2 biomes, in fact. One of which I have located at 10,000 blocks away. Apparently, according to the wiki, it's in a Mystic Grove. I really hope it is, because 10,000 blocks is far, even with a jetpack. Now, we're still 8,000 blocks away, so that's unfortunate. It's 2 villages right next to each other, by the way. That's pretty cool. There's another village right there. There's like a triple village with like a right angle here. That's kind of cool. Ooh. Ooh, that's really nice. Floating island area. I haven't found one of these. Ah, that's a Mystic Grove. And I see the white sand, that's good. And the water's purple, okay. I'm gonna assume I have enough for this. And if I need to come back, I can, because I have a waste stone. But let's go home now. I am ready to keep going. Digging out this pit basically equated to 16,000 calcite, which is a little more than I need. So, and that's for both of the sections, by the way, not just the first one. So I think the only thing that I don't have, or I haven't crafted, is the steel pipes. We're gonna go see what the status of that is right now. 25 and a half stacks. So there's about 1,000 steel ingots here. So 2 stacks of steel makes 6 stacks of pipes right there. So what we just made, we've just made 12 stacks of steel pipes. So 2 more, suddenly this will get us to 24 stacks. And we need about 26. So we need about 2 more stacks. So that right there is more pipes than I need for the first one. But that doesn't take into account the next thing. And I think we need a lot more. I'm very pleased to report that we have everything now. In fact, everything is complete. It's all in these chests right here. This big tower of chests, and then of course over here, got some extra stuff here. But we have everything we need, and apparently there was way more stuff on the other side. Actually, that's not stuff that we need. There was way more elsewhere, but we've got lots and lots of chests full of stuff. Look at all those steel pipes. I had to do some AFKing, but eventually we got all of it, which is very nice. So I think we're ready to go. I think these are configured the right way already, which is always a good thing. We definitely want to protect block entities this time. I definitely didn't accidentally delete a storage drawer with 80,000 dirt in it while running the last schematic in the last video. That definitely didn't happen. Behold, the democracy factory, where freedom gets refined into democracy. The one issue is there's no freedom here yet. I have to teleport the freedom from the freedom field over here. Also, we don't have any rotational power, so I'm going to start by teleporting some of the oil to these generators to run them temporarily until I can give them diesel. I also have to add water down here to start up the pumps and that stuff. So let me go ahead and do that real fast, and then we'll go over to the oil field. Let's see, if we go maybe right here, right by the pump, we're gonna make this crude oil 2. And so now we're gonna change over the output. Let's get rid of this and move it. So the output's gonna go into here, and it's gonna send the crude oil over. All right, all the other ones are done, and I've got a teleporter here, so it's actually already speeding up. You can see that's good. Problem is, it's meant to be superheated, and it's not right now, so I have to add the extra blaze burners, but then we'll be all set. And there we go. Are we at 65,000? We are. So we can do this. It'll shut it off, but then that'll spin everything. Everything is actually powered on. The last step is for me to activate the distillation towers because crude oil might be going through them, or maybe not. Maybe the valves are closed. And more importantly, there's no fuel in the blaze burners for the distillation towers, and that comes out of the output, so I have to jumpstart it somehow. I'm going to try to put crude oil into it, maybe with a bucket, if that'll work. Hopefully it will. Please. Oh my goodness, it works. Oh, and look, it seems like it's already refining. Is it? Yeah, the whole thing worked. I only had to put one bucket in and it turned it on. Okay, that's really good. So I didn't, look, let's get another bucket. Let's get another bucket. Let's go over here. Where is it? If I put this in here, we should see the whole thing go. Yeah, there it goes. It's on. There goes the kerosene. It's probably already going into here because these have tanks. Yeah, it's got gasoline already. I don't know why it didn't make a window. Oh, yep, there it goes. Look at all the particles. Ooh. Last one is on. I think, yep. Let's get out here before creepers blow up. There's actually already 100 buckets of like heavy oil in here, which is really a lot in a short amount of time. 114 buckets for some reason. It just means it's going really fast with all these. And I could even bring the train in now. We're going to do that just for fun. We're going to lose most of the crude oil, but look, we didn't go to all that trouble to make a train and an oil yard and all that, loading it, just to leave it sit around and not do anything with it. Here we go. We should actually be being unloaded right now. Let's go take a look. Should be happening in real time. Is it going? Yep, it is. Look, I have a lot of new resources that I didn't have at the start of this video, namely fuel like diesel and gasoline, which is very useful for certain types of vehicles, like tanks. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. However, a little bit needs to happen in between videos, actually, from you guys. So there's a lot of different tanks that exist. Believe it or not, there's more than a couple. I'm no tank expert. I've seen the ones that everyone has seen. So what I was going to actually do, instead of just picking one myself to build, I thought that I would actually do a poll, and I would pick some of like probably 4 well-known kind of famous tanks, I guess, to put in the poll. And then have another option where it's just like comment a different design down below. So basically, you guys can go vote on the poll, vote for the one you want, or if you have a different one, you can suggest it in the comments. By the time this video goes up, you're already going to see that poll there. Just go to the community tab on my channel, there'll be the poll. You can vote in it, and then whichever tank wins is the one that I will use as a basis for the tank that we build next time. Just in time for Halloween as well. We're going to need a tank on Halloween, probably. I have no idea why, though. You can actually find the oil refinery now on my Patreon if you want, and then once it gets finished here, I'm just going to update the file there, so it'll be the completed version eventually as it's done here. But if you want to grab it, you can go over there. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm excited for the next time when we get to do a tank. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I've been Sbeev, and I'll see you guys next time.